And hello everybody, welcome back to the channel guys, hope you're all well. Before we do get into today's video, as always, please do smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for daily Rangers content. Okay, so it's the day after, of course, the Old Firm defeat to Celtic, losing 2-1. Sorry for those of you that watched my live reaction straight after the game yesterday. I was very drunk and I'm very much suffering right now. Very hungover, very fatigued, and yeah, I'm gonna be probably ruining my sort of Hogmanay celebrations tonight because I am hungover. I'm rough as fuck, to put it bluntly. But of course, look, since of course I did that initial reaction, I've kind of watched the game back a bit and taken a look at sort of fans' reactions. I've listened to the manager, I've listened to the players, I've listened to everyone who was obviously watching the spectacle on Saturday, and of course there has been a lot of drama in the fallout of the game. Now, one thing I actually did miss, and usually when you're watching it in a sort of pub environment on a big screen, both sets of fans there and stuff like that, there's key moments that you miss throughout matches, and one of those big decisions, of course, that Philippe Clement is raging about, and what Rangers fans are raging about, is the handball, of course, where they sort of come in and what's his name, Alistair Johnston handballs it and punches the ball and it goes straight out of play. Now, obviously, I've seen the halftime reaction to it. There's a lot of debate stating that Rangers were actually offside. However, that sort of fact only came in when we were into the second half, into the 60th minute of the game. Neil Lennon and all the guys sort of in the sort of punditry box were stating it was a blatant penalty and should have been a penalty, but there is a missing factor here. That Rangers, of course, though there was no VAR audio, there was no talk of this situation. Regardless, the offside hadn't come in, or the supposed offside hadn't come in yet until the second half. So yeah, there was a big bollock drop there with regards to this situation and why a penalty wasn't given, or at least why it wasn't spoke about. Look, it does seem as though Rangers have demanded the audio to be released. Liverpool did it a while back when they had a massive issue with regards to Liverpool and Tottenham. Obviously at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, it was an absolute VAR farce. And Liverpool, of course, didn't get justice, and Rangers won't get justice, of course. We are not going to be getting, or we're not going to be replaying the game, but the situation is there, and we have to hold these VAR and the referees accountable for decisions. Now, again, I'm going to go back and harp it to my personal point of view. I don't think we were good enough in that game to take all 3 points, nor really get a result out of it. But in a pivotal moment in the game, when we're 1-0 behind and we get a penalty just before half-time, it can change the whole outlook and the dynamic of the game going into the second half, and that's something what Rangers fans are seriously fuming about in there. And I've obviously seen Philippe Clement's comment straight after the game. He is absolutely livid with that in particular decision. Again, in terms of that point, I don't think the refereeing was all too good, but I don't see a world in which Rangers are going to get a penalty at Celtic Park. I really don't, despite it being sort of a clear and obvious mistake. And actually looking back at it, I kind of retract my statement from yesterday in terms of the refereeing. I thought the refereeing was okay from my first looking of the game itself, but having a look at that, there's something that needs to be done with regards to VAR. And again, it's something we're not going to be able to get back, but something that needs to be held accountable. They need to get better at what they're doing. And yeah, again, in a pivotal moment, VAR drops a huge bollock. Regardless of his offside, we didn't know it was offside until the 60th minute into the second half. So at that moment in time, they didn't think anything was offside, and there was no audio there. So it'll be interesting to see the audio released, and hopefully Rangers can get that audio like they did with Liverpool and Tottenham, and hold these officials accountable. Again, back onto the performance itself though, guys, Cyril Dessers is rank rotten. This brings us to the January transfer window. We need attacking reinforcements within this team. We need a better striker. Again and again. A lot of fans stating that Cyril Dessers has been doing well in recent weeks. He has been doing well in recent weeks. He's scored a couple of goals, but even when he's been scoring these goals, and big goals may I add, I'm still not convinced on the player, and I still don't think he's going to be good enough for Rangers. I still don't think he will make it and take us to that next level, and this is something that we seriously need to address this January. And I know we've brought in Fabio Silva at this moment in time, but I still think we're short in that striking department and we need another striker. I'm stating Lawrence Shankland, but if it's someone else, if Philippe Clement doesn't fancy Lawrence Shankland, then go and get somebody else that you fancy that's going to play your game plan right. But we need more strikers because the players that we've got at this moment in time, Lammers, Dessers, just not good enough. Those two are sort of dead wood. Bring in 2 fresh faces. I still have hope for Danilo, of course, but he's currently injured. So let's see what happens in January, but we definitely need another striker as well. With regards to the other overall game, I said in the live stream yesterday, I got mixed up with Dujon Sterling and Cyril Dessers. I thought Dujon Sterling did us justice in the middle of the park. I thought Dujon Sterling's come in and played fairly well for Rangers since playing in that sort of midfield role due to our sort of injury problems. And I think he did. I think he played very, very well. So yeah, I'm going to give him high marks, of course. Todd Cantwell, again, a lot of fans not really happy with his performance. A lot of fans getting frustrated with him. And I would just say be patient with Todd. I think Todd's a good player, and I do think he's one of our most talented players within the team. And I think, you know, if we play to his strengths, he can still be a shining light for us. Yes, again, when you're watching in the pub, you don't see a lot. I've seen a lot of completed passes. I had a Celtic fan chirping in my ear, talking throughout the game as well, talking about how good he's been. So maybe I was just led astray by his initial reaction as well. But look, listen, it is what it is. I've watched it back, and again, I still stand by it. I don't think we were good enough to get all 3 points. We didn't do ourselves justice. And again, it's that same conversation again. When title winners or title challengers, champions, they always turn up when it matters. And I hate to say it, Celtic do turn up when it matters the most, in the games that they need to win. When the pressure's on, they always find a way of winning, and they did that. And that's something that we need to try and find going forward, especially if we want to win the title. But next up for us is to bounce back against Kilmarnock. Now, any test for a manager or a new manager that's come in unbeaten, our biggest test will be the game after a defeat. How are we going to respond? How are the players going to respond? Are we going to go out there and get a win? Show no mercy to Kilmarnock, and hopefully I'll be a bit happier going into that international break, that winter break, and then especially making a few transfer additions. I will be a lot more happier going forward. But again, it's all eyes on Kilmarnock now. We need a response, and then that January transfer window, Rangers need to get the checkbook out and make sure that they're getting some players in. And that's my initial diagnosis. I'm not pushing the panic buttons just yet. I want to see our response, and I want to see some activity in the January transfer window, and I still think we can go on to win this title. But we need to show up in big moments. We've shown up in big moments so far this season. The League Cup final, Real Betis when we needed a win away from home. We got the job done. So I'm not going to say that we lack bottle, but certainly we have got a bit of a cloud over us with regards to our recent outings in the Old Firm. Gerrard had Celtic on a lead. He had them pinned down. He was winning a lot of games, but ever since sort of Gerrard left, I think we've won one league game, or one league game out of 12. Yes, I remember we winning the Scottish Cup semi-final. That's probably our most meaningful Old Firm that we've won. But in terms of the other one, the last year's one, I'm not taking that for face value. That was a dead rubber. Celtic had already won the title, and I think they were going on for a treble. They won the Scottish Cup semi-final. They won the Scottish League Cup final, and had already won the league. So I'm not going to be taking that Old Firm match as something like, oh yeah, we won that game. No, that didn't count. I'm talking about Old Firm matches that actually matter and actually have something to play for. And we don't show up, and we've not shown up before. So again, we need to try and do that, but that's going to come with a bit of time. That's going to come with some more additions to the January transfer market. We need to bring in a new left back. We need to bring in some more central midfielder for depth. We need another striker on top of Fabio Silva, and we need a new winger as well, which I've got a bit of news for a bit later into the next video, guys. So we'll discuss that later on. But I think that's all I've really got for you guys with it. I'm not in meltdown. I'm not pissed off. I'm pissed off. That's a lie. I am pissed off. But I'm not going to be in a meltdown. I'm not going to be jumping the gun. It is what it is. I know I always say that term a lot of the time. You just got to move on from it, and it's how we respond going forward at this moment in time. But yeah, Rangers fans, let me know your final thoughts from the game. I'll park that up. We can move on. And yeah, all eyes towards Kilmarnock in this January transfer window for me now, most certainly. But guys, yeah, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you all next time. Take care. Peace.